Who is the GOAT? We're not talking about farm animals. No, we're taking our shot at one of the biggest questions in sports. But not just any single sport. We are breaking down the greatest of all time in every major sport, so let's get into it. Soccer, Pele. Edson Arantes do Nascimento started his professional football career at only 15 years old. At 16, he joined the Brazilian national team. On both occasions, he scored in his first match. Named to the 1958 World Cup team, he became the youngest player in World Cup history. He scored a hat trick against France in the semifinal, then two more against Sweden in the final as Brazil won their first ever World Cup. With do Nascimento, better known as Pele, on the side, Brazil would go on to win two of the next three World Cups before he retired from international play. On the club side, Pele spent 19 seasons with Brazilian club Santos, scoring an absurd 619 goals in 638 appearances, and finished his career with the New York Cosmos of the NASL. Then in his mid-30s, he scored 31 goals in 56 matches. No less a figure than Johan Cruyff stated, Pele was the only footballer who surpassed the boundaries of logic. No one has surpassed Pele yet, and it's likely no one ever will. MMA, Anderson Silva. MMA, it is still a pretty new sport. That being said, naming a GOAT in this game is still pretty controversial. That also being said, Anderson Silva could very well be up there, mainly for his fighting style, striking accuracy, and total dominance during his prime. Silva has the longest winning streak in the UFC's history at 16 wins. Silva spent almost 7 years undefeated, and he did it in an incredibly entertaining fashion, from front kicks to the face to lethal flying knees. Demetrius Johnson has only matched Silva's record of 10 consecutive title defenses. George St. Pierre's style, while brutally effective, will never be as exciting as the Spiders. And to the naysayers, yes, the end of Silva's career has been tumultuous, but the man remains an icon, regardless of how he chooses to make his exit. In our book, the Spider is still the greatest of all time. Golf, Jack Nicklaus. Both Sam Snead and Tiger Woods ended up winning more total events on the PGA Tour than Jack Nicklaus, but the Golden Bear was in a class of his own at the majors. Not only did Nicklaus win 18 majors, but he was also the runner-up 19 times. He won each major at least 3 times and finished in the top 2 at least 8 times in each major. No other golfer had more than 46 top 10 finishes, but Nicklaus was a top 10 finisher 73 times and finished in the top 5 56 times. At his peak from 1971 through 1977, Nicklaus placed top 5 in 23 of 28 majors, including 6 wins. Nicklaus's career rate of top 10 finishes in the majors was 44.5%, but that's largely because he continued golfing long past his prime. He finished outside the top 10 in 65 of his final 72 majors. Boxing, Muhammad Ali. Another very tough call, but at the same time an obvious one. Muhammad Ali is pound for pound the greatest boxer to have ever lived. Why? Because he was a fighter with the hand speed and dexterity of a lightweight boxer, the power of a heavyweight, and the mouth of a professional wrestler. At the tender age of 22, the Louisville Lip shocked the world when he beat heavy favorite Sonny Liston to become one of the youngest ever to hold the heavyweight crown. Ali continued to shock the world for most of his boxing career, most notably when he joined the Nation of Islam shortly after conquering Liston before he was banned from boxing for 3 years after he refused to enter the Vietnam War draft. The United States government tried to take him down, and 6 years after his ban was lifted, the kid from Kentucky was heavyweight champion again after taking down George Foreman in the legendary Rumble in the Jungle bout that almost killed both men. Wrestling, Ric Flair. Without discounting the dawns of the WWE's Attitude Era, it is hard to place the Nature Boy Ric Flair as anything but professional wrestling's GOAT. It's not just that he's recognized by the WWE as a 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, it is the era that he did it in. Flair was one of the last champions who actually helped create talent by traveling to other territories in the country and challenging their best competitor. By the time he left, that person looked like $1,000,000, even if they weren't worth 99 cents. Flair made the championships matter while exuding an expensive cool that set the standard for how a champion should dress, speak, and carry themselves. He was a god among men, and his influence has not only touched the world of pro wrestling, but hip-hop, basketball, and how you should stroll into meetings when you're trying to get shit done. Tennis, Serena Williams. Since going pro in 1995, over 2 decades ago, Serena Williams has essentially owned the sport of tennis ever since. Now, you could argue she is the most dominant athlete, male or female, of any current sport, but that's a debate for a whole other day. Serena is not the greatest just because she has 4 Olympic gold medals, or because with 23 Grand Slam titles she's the winningest major champion of the Open era. It's also not just because she has an 80% win rate and has been number 1 in the world for a total of 309 weeks, 186 of which were consecutive. It's that in terms of sheer talent, broadening the sport's appeal, and yes, winning, it's hard to argue that any player has impacted the game of tennis more than Serena. The sport is forever changed by her presence as well as her success. Baseball, Babe Ruth. This one should be obvious. Let me just put it this way. Back in the day, Ned Williamson held the record for most home runs in a season at 27, before Babe Ruth belted 29 in 1919. When he shattered that milestone with 54 the following year, nobody else even reached 20. From 1918 to 1931, he led or tied in home runs 12 times. The Sultan of SWAT smacked 602 long balls during that time frame. Nobody else even hit 300. Before transitioning into a full-time outfielder, he tossed 650 innings in 1916 and 1917 combined, earning 47 wins and a 1.88 earned run average. Now, could the greatest hitter in the history of the sport have made this list if he never swung a bat? Luckily for the Yankees, that is only a fun what if for a player whose dominance will never be matched. Football, Tom Brady. With 7 championships, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, and 3 league MVPs, Brady stacks up to be clearly the greatest football player ever. Not only that, Brady is the greatest winner the NFL has ever seen and the greatest quarterback. His 581 passing touchdowns are the most in NFL history, while his 79,204 yards are second. He has the most Super Bowl MVPs in NFL history, while he is the only NFL player with 7 championships. What Brady has accomplished past the age of 37 is a Hall of Fame career in and of itself. Proving longevity in the NFL solidified his GOAT status. Now, no disrespect to Jerry Rice or Jim Brown, but Brady is the greatest player in league history. For everything that Brady has accomplished, it is still hard to put him past the 2 titans of North American sports. Brady is right with them with all of the NFL records he set, and can even pass them if he continues this torrid pace throughout his 40s. Basketball, Michael Jordan. Basketball is a sport for the stars, which is why we saved it for last. And of course, for now, there doesn't seem to be much debate that Jordan is the greatest of all time in his sport. With 6 championships, 6 NBA Finals MVPs, and 5 league MVPs, he is clearly superior. The Chicago Bulls have 6 championships in 8 seasons because of Jordan's dominance, the closest the NBA has ever seen to what the Boston Celtics did under Russell in the 1960s. Jordan retired for 18 months, or the Bulls may have won 8 in a row. Jordan averaged 33.6 points per game in the finals and won 6 NBA Finals MVPs in 6 trips, the most in NBA history. The Bulls never played in a Game 7 in the finals thanks to Jordan's dominance. Jordan's 5 MVP awards are tied with Russell for the second most in NBA history, only behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He is a 10-time scoring champion, winning in 9 consecutive full seasons, and led the league in steals per game 3 times. Jordan was an All-NBA selection, 11-time and 9-time All-NBA defensive team selection, winning Defensive Player of the Year once. Jordan averaged 30.1 points per game, first in NBA history, and his 32,292 points are 5th in NBA history. His 2.3 steals per game are 4th in NBA history, and his 2,514 steals are 3rd on the all-time list. There may be a debate on the NBA's GOAT in some eyes, but Jordan's playoff resume with 33.4 points per game in the playoffs and his winning in the finals separates him from the pack. Obviously, a list like this can be pretty controversial, which is why we want to hear who you think belongs on this list who didn't make our cut. Let us know in the comments below, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content. This has been our breakdown of the greatest of all time in every major sport.